General Chemistry 1, Unit 1, Atomic Theory. Day 1, the atom. The definition of the atom: it is the smallest particle of an element that keeps its own properties. What is the atom made out of? There are three main parts to the atom. Number one is the proton, symbolized in class with a P positive symbol. The proton is positively charged. It has a relative mass of 1. The location of the atom is in the center of the atom and another part of the atom called the nucleus. The actual mass of the proton is 1.67 times 10 to the negative 24. Obviously extremely small. That is a very big number, but it is an extremely small number because of the negative. The neutron is the second part of the atom, symbolized by the lowercase n and 0, meaning no charge. The neutron is neutrally charged. It has a relative mass of 1. It is located in the center of the atom, the nucleus, along with the proton. Like the proton, the neutron's actual mass is 1.67 times 10 to the negative 24. And the final main part of the atom is called the electron, symbolized lowercase e, negative, because the electron has a negative 1 charge. We say that the electron has relatively no mass. It does have a mass, but the mass is insignificant. The location of the electron is orbiting the nucleus in energy levels. The actual mass of the neutron is 9.11 times 10 to the negative 28. Again, extremely, extremely small. And when we talk about the relative mass of an electron, we basically say that it has no mass. So when you're adding up the mass of an atom, you don't even include the electrons for the mass. Which subatomic particle is not found in the center of the atom? Number 1, the proton. Number 2, the electron. Or number 3, the neutron. Of course, the correct answer is the neutron. Correction, the electron. Distinguishing amongst atoms. The atomic number tells the number of protons in any given atom. Important. All atoms of one type will have the same number of protons inside its nucleus. And it will also have the same atomic number. Therefore, all gold atoms have 79 protons in them. Does not matter if those gold atoms are found in California, Michigan, Russia, Yugoslavia, or Italy. They are all 79 atoms. Hydrogen has 1 proton in it. Therefore, it has an atomic number of 1. The electrical charge of atoms are neutral as long as the atom has the same number of protons as electrons. P positives equal E negatives. If that's the case, the electrons will have no electrical charge. When using the periodic table, each element has its own atomic number. For example, carbon is the number 6. You can find that in the periodic table by you looking up the atomic number, and carbon will have 6. Like I said earlier, all carbon atoms will have 6 protons. This number does not change. It is unique. Another way to distinguish amongst atoms is by their mass number. The mass number is equal to the number of protons and neutrons in the nucleus of the atom. Remember, protons have a mass of 1 and neutrons have a mass of 1. We do not have to worry about adding the mass of an electron because, as stated earlier, they basically have no mass that we count. So let's take a look at this example. Oxygen has 8 protons. this oxygen atom also has 9 neutrons. So its mass number is 17. Simple. Add the number of protons with the number of neutrons and you will get its mass number. Isotopes. Isotopes are another way to distinguish amongst atoms. An isotope is an atom that has protons and neutrons which are not equal. So for example, in our previous example of oxygen, there are 8 protons and 9 neutrons. The mass number is 17. Therefore, this is an isotope. Why is it an isotope? Because the number of protons do not equal the number of neutrons. To distinguish an isotope, oftentimes, as shown here, we use the name of the element with the mass number shown afterwards. So oxygen 17 is an isotope of oxygen. Another way to distinguish amongst atoms are called ions. Ions also involve an unequal number of protons, but in this instance with ions we use electrons as the other main part to compare. So ions are when the number of protons and electrons are not equal. Keep in mind the periodic table shown in our chemistry book and that you can find online show atoms in neutral state. In other words, no charge. Why again is there no charge? There is no charge because the number of protons equal the number of electrons. Now there are 2 types of ions. Number 1 is a cation. A cation is a positively charged ion. Metals become cations by giving away or donating electrons. Why are they positive? Because there are less electrons than protons. The second type of ion is called an anion. These are negatively charged because there are more electrons than protons. Nonmetals become anions because they accept electrons. We will talk more about anions and cations and ions when we talk about bonding later on in this course. Remember that ions are charged because electrons and proton numbers are not the same. Question: how many electrons does a fluoride ion have if it has a 1 negative charge? To answer this question, you would need the periodic table. You would look up the atom fluorine, and you would notice that fluorine has an atomic number of 9. So, since it has an atomic number of 9, if it was a neutral atom, we know that it would have 9 protons and 9 electrons. However, if it has a 1 negative charge, that means the protons and the electrons are not equal. And if it's a 1 negative charge, it means that it would have 1 extra negative. Therefore, it would have 10 electrons. Isotopes can be written as symbols. They can be written as this symbol here with the element symbol for carbon being C, a 14 after it stating that it has a mass number of 14, and then a subscript 6 which tells its atomic number. At this time, I want you to write the symbol for chlorine 37.